right, recording in high def.
Oh yeah. All right, Michael. We got to do it.
I'm smiling only because it's Mother's Day and I got to see my family.
Exactly.
Otherwise, I am
put up
not
the
happy.
license plate. Put up the license plate. We're doing it. We're starting the show there. We showed this last week or a couple weeks ago to one of your the guests you had on.
Whitley,
we lose.
Yeah.
We lose. That's it. The Knicks lost again.
Terrible game.
We got to start in a sour note. The thing is, man, I got to say this. I was kind of expecting that. I was.
I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, they're missing key guys. That's the main thing that I think people are forgetting about. They're missing two of their best guys right now. I didn't expect them to lose by double digits in humiliating fashion on a Sunday afternoon. Like 22 is insane for a playoff game. It's just it's pretty sad. However, injuries. It was an away game.
Yeah.
So you know what? The thing that does suck though is that now we're in a best of 3 situation. The good news, 2 of them are at the Garden, which is good, assuming it does have to go 7.
Yeah, they'll be there Tuesday at the Garden.
It'll be good.
Well, it's tied. It would have to go.
Yeah.
7, right.
It goes Garden, Midwest, Garden. If it goes 7.
Oh, right. Yeah. If it goes 3.
Yeah, because remember, basketball doesn't. It's different in basketball. It's 2-2-1-1-1. It's not 2-3-2 like it is in baseball.
Yeah. Try to make it fair.
Let me ask you a question, Mike.
Yes.
If these injuries do these Knicks in, is this season a disappointment if they don't get out of this round? Or do you forgive them because of just the amount of bodies that have been dropping on this team?
No, I don't think it's a disappointment. I think if they didn't get out of the first round, that would have been disappointing because of how hot they got at the end of the year and they showed that they can play. Had you asked me that question back, remember we were talking about them, I didn't really see a lot of hope for them this year because of all the injuries. And you're like, no. And they took this 2 seed amazingly.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't think, I knew if they were full strength, they could win, but I was just like, with all these injuries, I don't know. And yet something clicked with them and they just stepped up, and so I think if they lose this series, it's disappointing, obviously. But I don't think the season is a failure. I think they've really made a dent in the NBA in terms of the way you play the game. And somebody, who was it? Was it Alan Hahn or Zerbiak or somebody was saying like this Knicks team is changing basketball because the narrative has always been guys have to rest, load management. They got to rest. They got to rest. This Knicks team does not rest. And there's some people I heard on the radio today that they're blaming the injuries that they don't have rest. And it's like, you're there to play. You're going to get hurt. And yeah, these guys do need some rest. That's why I was hoping they would win game. I would hope they go 3-0 so they could, or at least they would have went up 3-1 today. So at least the next game they can say, all right, Jalen, well, we can give you a little more time off. Or all right, whoever, we can give you a little time a little longer on the bench. But I don't see them complaining, and the players have said all the right things. Jalen Brunson is their superstar, and nobody treats him like a superstar, which is bizarre. He's not even on the Olympic team yet, and which is crazy. So it's like,
well, you said he needed rest. He can sit out of the.
I guess so, but like somebody posted that like they picked, like maybe it's an old thing, but it was like they picked they're looking for one more player, and Jalen Brunson's name wasn't on Team USA, and there's a picture of Jalen Brunson giving the sign. Like, are you serious? You're not going to pick me? Like, the guy has been unbelievable. Knicks aside, the guy has been absolutely unbelievable. So I don't see the season as a failure because of what they've been able to do with what they have and how much they play and how beat up they are. But I think it sends a signal to the league, like, shut up and show up and play.
I think that it does. It might encourage some teams to scale back a little bit on the load management. But I want to say this too. You said the word narrative, and I want to piggyback that because the narrative is always, it's like that license plate that we put up that we like to joke about. It's the we lose. It's the Knicks suck. It's the fact that the Garden is just a place that you go when you're on vacation with your family from Europe or the Midwest to go watch the Knicks lose to your team. Yeah. And now it's not like that anymore. I've felt it in the city over the last couple of months where people are paying attention now. People are paying, people that like me, even who I'll admit I'm a bit of a casual when it comes to that.
Right.
I get to one game a year, maybe. Okay. But people are paying attention, and the Garden is not quite as full of the casuals and the tourists. It's full of like hardcores.
No, the Garden's rocking like it's known for.
Yeah. So it's not just going to be a little tourist attraction to go watch your team play against your New York team. And no, this is going to be over the next few years. I could really see the Garden being a house of horrors for visiting teams. I could really see it being extremely intimidating. Hey, I'm rooting for it too, brother. I really am. So I think that the narrative, I like that word to use. The narrative is changing about this team. It is becoming a situation where people don't want to come to New York and deal with Spike Lee and 20,000 angry, drunk New Yorkers who now show up with the expectation of winning. And that's the difference that this year's team has had that a lot of ones in the past haven't.
Yeah, I think that's the difference with New York fans, at least in my experience. Like, New York fans, can they be abrasive and over the top and obnoxious? Of course. There's a lot of fan bases like that. But New Yorkers are just tough. They want you to win. And we'll go over the top sometimes. Maybe Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo suffered some toxicity there. But like if you win, you do your like people when they go to we know from working in New York and living in New York and being around New York will beat you down, and with no forgiveness. New York will not love you back. And it's hard as hell to get to work day after day. So like when you're a multi-million-dollar athlete and you're milking it and you want load management, the guy from Con Ed doing electrical work and the woman driving the bus and this person here, and nobody has time for that crap. They want.
By the way, I just want to say that the equality that you just put into that last thing
is true.
Was a female bus driver, and that's what we provide here at the Nosebleeders. Is we provide gender equality. I want more female cable. I want a cable lady, and I want a bus lady. Okay, that's what
I think I've only seen a woman cab driver, yellow cab once. I've seen women Uber drivers, but I think it's always a guy.
I had one female Uber driver years ago.
Yeah.
And she was really pretty. It was weird. It was like, it wasn't
That's
like what
probably why there aren't any.
Yeah, no. I wasn't like hitting on her or anything. I was just taken back. I was like, what the hell? Because usually you get in an Uber and it's like, it's an old, dude who's either like Pakistani or from Zimbabwe or something. And this lady with like a little like a semi-sexy French accent is like, oh hey. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Like it was kind of tough to process.
You drive me across the country.
Well, you're not mentally ready.
Just leave the meter on, lady.
Usually when you're getting in an Uber, you're a little drunk.
Yeah.
And it's late night and you just want to get home and eat your halal or your Taco Bell or whatever takeout you just got and pass out.
Chinese food,
and you get into a car and you're like, wait a minute, do I have to get back in the game right now? Oh fuck. And you're totally not ready.
Yeah. That's the end of the night once you're in the Uber. So
yeah, exactly.
On. Uber dating. That's gonna be the new show. We're gonna launch. End of the night drunk people.
Well, that's what Uber Pool used to be before they took it away during COVID. Anyway, that is definitely very tangential. As far as obnoxious fan bases go, I do want to say this. Let's get over to the ready to talk about the Rangers for just a sec, a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I kind of mentioned earlier. I wanted to throw a little comparison in with the Knicks and the Rangers.
Okay.
What the Rangers are doing, and people were on the radio were talking about today. My brother was telling me about it. The Rangers went up 3-0. They lost their first game against the Hurricanes. They should have rested. They were saying they should have rested Igor today, but they played him. So now, or the last game or whatever, they
disagree.
They
Go
lost.
for the throat.
Well, yeah, but the idea was you have Quick, who's really good as a backup. It's not like he's not like a regular backup. Like he's been good during the year.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you could, or at least at some point in the game, you could take Igor out and put Quick in, and then you have a fresher Igor going into the next game. But yeah, I could see why you would disagree. But the point is,
and the reason why I disagree with that, not to cut you off, is that if you win this game, there is no next game. Hey, guess what? He's got all the rest he needs. He can chill out. He could take a 2-day vacation. He can go down to Miami and do some blow and get an HJ from, a Cuban stripper or something. He can do whatever he's got to do to rest himself and get himself ready to go for the next round. So I actually agree with putting him in. You go for the jugular. When you're up 3-0, you do not take your, and we learned this in 2004 with the Yankees, didn't we? You do not take your boot off the neck of your opponent until it is done. Okay, so you know what? I agree with playing him. Now, that being said, Quick probably could have gotten the job done. I'm not in any way taking anything away from him. And maybe you get a lead, you put him in anyway. Maybe you start Quick and you put
Igor's later. Been hot. Igor's been hot, So
no, it definitely. Oh yeah, they were 7-0, and that's what I want to mention with with this fan base. I saw some people posting, and again, I don't know if this is the whole fan base or just people I know personally, so I don't want to project on the whole fan base. But dude, people were freaking out about this loss, and I'm like, dude, they're up 3-1. They started 7-0 in the playoffs. Do you know how many fan bases would give their left nut to begin any playoff, whether it's basketball or baseball or whatever, hockey in this case? 7-0 in the playoffs? Are you insane? This team, this is typical New York garbage, is what it is. It's fans. They didn't sweep them. They only won the game in overtime. They didn't win 12-0 in hockey. Like, it is so insane to me that people are upset about this loss. Dude, take the L and just win one of the next three. It is not a big deal. Calm down, people.
I do like the competitive fire here in New York. Like, no, we want to sweep every series, but don't freak out about it. Like, I was disappointed they lost because they came back and tied it. I'm like, oh, good. And then they had the Hurricanes didn't score any power plays the whole game, so it was almost inevitable they were going to score there. And they're trying to stay alive. And then the fans were going nuts like they just won the Stanley Cup. I was like, okay, you didn't get sweeps. I guess you're happy. But I think they will go back to the Garden and take care of business. But who knows? But at least being up by this much gives them a little room. Maybe there's some kinks they got to work out. Yeah, they have leeway. And that's why I hope the Knicks would at least go up 3-0 or win today and go up 3-1, just so the team can go. Not step off the gas, but just make some adjustments to get their players to 100%.
Well, you know what, man? They got the day off. They're going back to their home. And, hey, maybe it'll be able to have the opposite effect where it wakes them up and they go, oh, you know what? Maybe we took Indiana a little bit too lightly. Maybe we need to step it up a notch. Maybe there's somebody we haven't been talking about this series yet who steps it up off the bench and puts up 20. Like, we don't know. Yeah. And that's the beauty of sports. It's not scripted. It's fun. Is it going to be disheartening or is it going to be something that wakes them up? You know what? I got to go with, I think they're going to wake up. I think they're going to show up tomorrow night or then 2 days Tuesday. From now. I think they're going to show up on Tuesday and I really do. I've got a good feeling going in. And when they lose, then we can continue our miserable journey as Knicks fans. But until they do, this team has given, I think, this fan base more hope than any team probably since we were about, 8 years old.
I mean, the last time the Knicks, they had that one season with Carmelo where they went to the playoffs. But, like, in terms of the Knicks dynasty, if you want to call it that, the 90s, the early 90s into 99 when they played the Spurs in the championship during the lockout year, those Knicks teams were like Knicks teams that we know. And you haven't felt this good about the Knicks last year and this year since then. So now it's like this team now is different than those teams in the sense that you feel this team could definitely win. They might not need, I think they still need one more piece, but like with Ewing, they needed a Jalen Brunson back then. They needed a second superstar. They needed somebody to pair with Oakley, Starks, and Ewing and Mason. They needed one more big star. This team now, it's like they need Randall and maybe another guy at Randall's. Look at OG. He's not a star, but he's good.
Ooh,
and how much? They just need pieces.
Man. And this is the closest I think this team has felt. And I gotta say this because baseball is kind of my primary sport. I'm a little bit jealous of the other three sports as fans because their off season is in the summertime, which is like for me the greatest time of year. I hate living through the winter time when my primary sport is not there because I'm always depressed in the winter. But I'm telling you, it's gonna make summer a lot less fun for a lot of Knicks fans. It's good because I'm telling you, people are going to be excited to see what they do this offseason, to see how they can finally get that last piece of the puzzle because this is the closest this team has been, like I said, in decades. This is the moment. And then if it's not this year, it's going to be in the next 2 or 3 years where you can wake up in October and legitimately say, this team's got a shot to take it all this year.
Yeah. Now I've been seeing at least a lot of Knicks. I almost choked to death before, but I'm okay now. The water went down the wrong pipe. The Knicks, we're talking about narrative. there's so much Knicks hate, and like I hate to be a biased homer of a fan, but
no, that's what we're here to do. Let it out, baby. Let it out.
No, but I've been seeing more of it, of just the whole Charles Barkley thing. Him and Shaq didn't pick the Knicks, didn't take him seriously. Barkley's like, I hope if they play the Celtics beat their ass. Like, wear your rings, number one. I like.
There's a lot of people who feel that way. By the way, about that particular potential series of New York versus Boston.
But look at the thing where Kevin Durant didn't want to come here. He's like, no, great organization, blah 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 blah. Now you can say what you want about Dolan. He's got some serious allegations against him. Everybody still hates him, despite how good the Knicks are doing now. But the point is Durant and Kyrie and Harden, we're going to Brooklyn and make it a championship team, and that fell apart. You put 3 guys who can't stay on one team together, and you thought that was going to pan out. So
that was kind of funny, and I'm not ripping on the Nets because we don't have B-Rabs or any of our other Nets fans friends here to kind of defend them. But I will say this, it was very funny the offseason where they got all those superstars, and Nets tickets were still like $25.
Nobody wanted to go.
Yeah,
we've been outside Barclays, and I've seen like young kids who are big fans of the Nets in Brooklyn, and it's like, yeah, they want to root for the team, but their organization is not doing things right. Like their GM has got rid of homegrown stars. Like they're a mess.
Yeah,
right
they are. We'll do an episode about that, I think, during the offseason. I think that'd be interesting. Yeah. I want to get somebody we know who's like a diehard Nets fan to talk about this and rant, because I don't feel qualified to talk about that personally. I don't. If you do, then have at it. But I would like to get like a Nets expert in here to see like, what the hell they're gonna do to come out of this, right?
The only guy I know, I don't know him personally, but that would be Evan Roberts. Frank the Tank, who I know, gave up on the Nets. He's like, it's not even the New Jersey Nets; it's a different team. It's the Brooklyn Nets.
We do try to get some of the guys from some of those organizations in here. Maybe we get
Sean Marks. He'll be busy this offseason.
We'll work on that. So anyways, speaking of spoiled fan bases and people who are upset at non-sweeps, let's get to baseball. Let's talk about the Yankees. They took 2 out of 3 from Houston, and I'll admit I was one of those spoiled babies who was very. Oh, there we go. Switching hats. I was one of those spoiled babies earlier in the week when they couldn't win that 3rd game, because I wanted so badly to go 7-0 against the Astros this year, just as an FU to that entire fan base.
Yeah. Sorry, Michelle.
Well, except her, she's great. And a couple other people that are okay.
We all know that one fan are like, oh, you're cool, but yeah,
you got to put it in perspective. In the same way that I just told Rangers fans to get back in perspective, I need to tell that to myself, because look, this week the Yanks took 2 out of 3 from Houston. They took 2 out of 3 from the Rays, and they swept the Tigers last week. This team is rolling right now. They are back. Rolling. Judge is back. Glaber had a home run today. They are rolling. And the thing is, guess what? The Orioles are still ahead of them. That's how good they are. And I did pick them to win the division, by the way. But yeah, man, if you would have told me 6-1 against Houston, I would have signed it. You sign up for that 10 times out of 10. You do. You absolutely do.
Yeah. Well, they were saying, somebody mentioned on the radio today, like maybe Verlander gets traded by the deadline. No. I don't think he would come. I don't think he would get traded.
First of all, I don't think they're going to be sellers, because let me tell you something. The Rangers in their division, not the New York Rangers, the Texas Rangers, they got swept by the Rockies this weekend.
Yeah.
The Astros are only like 6 games out or 7 games out of their division, because the rest of the AL West is trash. They're all a bunch of teams that are barely above 500.
Oakland, and
well, Oakland's actually better than they've been, but I'm talking about the Mariners. The Mariners and the Rangers, who are like the teams that are supposed to be taking it this year, they're only like 3 or 4 games above 500. And dude, I'm telling you, look, Houston, I don't think they're as threatening as they were in previous years, but you cannot let them stick around. You cannot let them stick around for too much longer, because they are a team that can go on a hot streak and lay down 9 in a row, and all of a sudden you're only 3 games up on them. And it's like, well, I thought we were going to now. Dude.
Yeah. I won't sleep on the Astros yet.
That division's there for the taking. If any of those teams will grow a pair and step up, but they haven't. And that's sort of the issue right now that I have. I don't think the Astros are going to be sellers. I don't.
No.
In fact, I think they're going to be buyers. And now my greatest wish is that they become buyers, they give up a bunch of prospects and still miss the playoffs. Nothing would make me happier.
I think it's next week is mid-May. All right, so
Yeah.
it's still super early. I mean, they could turn it around. Plenty of time for them to turn it around. And then the other thing on top of it is they're kind of like the Yankees were last year. Like the Yankees didn't sell; they made improvements to their team, and look how it's panned out. So I think you're right. I don't think the Astros, if they do bad, they're sellers by the deadline. I think they're like, we need this and that, a replacement. Just because they're
Oh yeah,
older.
so I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, they are
Yeah.
6 games out in the loss column from the Mariners. Do I think the Astros are fully capable of playing 6 games better than the Mariners from now until the end of September? Absolutely, I do.
Yeah, they have enough
Absolutely.
talent and trash cans to get them over the hump.
Well, and that's just it. Is you have
That should be their
situation
talent and trash cans. Yeah.
that again, we talked about this last week. The different types of there's the denial Astros fans, and then there's the fans who understand what happened. But like,
right,
I would say this is that they actually, I like your comp a lot of the Yankees from last year because they are similar to the Yankees from last year in that they've got some pretty good starting pitchers. And they have an offense that can't really come back that well in that many games. That being said, if they pick up a couple bats at the deadline, they are going to be a threat. They are going to be buyers. They are 6 out. That isn't. You could fix that in a week. Okay, if these other teams in that division decide to, because right now Seattle's in first place. They were 22-19. That is barely above 500. Okay, exactly. So you can't let them, like I said, you can't let them stick around, and they are. So, no, they are not going to be sellers. Verlander's not coming to the Yankees. He's not getting traded. They are going to be buyers. Everyone's got to chill the F out with them. Anyway, we're not Astros fans, but that is my dire warning to the rest of that division. They're not going away.
It's being realistic. Like, I'm not one to, like, count my money until I'm paid. So, the Yankees are... This year, they're trying to prove that they're legit, and so far they've been great. They've been consistent. I want to see Volpe get his act back together and start hitting. I don't know why he's lead. I know he's supposed to be lead off, but position to succeed.
Who do you lead off? Who?
Maybe put Oswaldo lead off. Try him.
He's got bad splits, man. The only person I would say maybe on the team you could do would be Birdie. Maybe or maybe DJ when he comes back if he's ever going to get healthy again.
Yeah, or change it up a little.
Right now, he's your best bet. Right now, I still think it's Volpe because he's got crazy speed and he does hit for contact. He needs to stop trying to hit home runs. He needs to just focus on hitting singles the opposite way like Jeter used to and just accept that you're the guy that gets on base, steals second, and then you got Soto and Judge to get your ass home. He needs to kind of accept that. But again, I'm not his coach.
Just play small ball. Yeah. The shortstop plays small ball. This team
does play small ball really, really well. So Yanks are rolling. I don't have many concerns. I had a friend text me that he's freaking out about the bullpen today, and it's like, dude, they had a 6-run lead. Calm down, okay? That's when you put in your unproven guys when you're up by 6. So chill out.
The Yankees bullpen has actually been better. I mean, they've had some. It's not as terrible as I think people make it out to be. I think by the trade deadline they do need to add a starting pitcher. And I think they need to, maybe add a relief guy.
They'll make improvements. They'll pick up like a Middleton like they did last year. And they're
Cole's coming back soon. Yeah.
So, and now remember they got Dominguez coming back too. That's going to be real interesting.
Oh yeah.
Because that guy was for a week was a superstar until he got hurt.
Yeah. And
right, enough baseball talk. Specifically enough Yankees talk. Let's get to the fun stuff. We got a lot of fun visuals. If you are listening to this in the audio version on the podcast version, thank you. We appreciate it. Do all the things like sending it to your friends or subscribing or whatever the heck you do on there. However, at this point forward, I'd switch over to the YouTube because we're doing some visual stuff. So you got to get
while you're driving though.
Get the full pie. You got to switch over to YouTube stuff. So we're gonna, so this is the visual only. Okay, Mike, what do you got here?
All right. I would like us to actually, one episode, like we did with basketball, go through a bunch of these City Connect jerseys, but I wanted to, because I hate most of them, but I kind of like the Mets new ones in certain regards. It has an old New York Gotham kind of feel, but these, we just saw Tampa Bay come to town, or we went there with their City Connects. I kind of like them. So here's their uniforms.
So we got now. Do these glow in the dark? I ask that in all earnest. Like, do these?
They better.
That text in the back with the Rosarena. do they
hope
glow in the
so.
dark, or are they just meant to, or at the
I
very
don't
least,
know.
will they respond to a black light or something? Because
Well, they're gonna have that one league, the independent leagues or minor leagues having the black light game. Where all the jerseys they're gonna play under black lights, which somebody's gonna get hurt. I'm sure of that. But
that's gonna oh boy.
it's gonna be
It's
ridiculous.
amazing that because
Yeah,
they don't have a union, what they fucking do to those players. But they're a whole different conversation.
yeah.
I like these two.
I like Tampa Bay, just the fact that they is very Florida looking. It's very tropical looking. Tampa Bay is the perfect place to have a crazy uniform with all these cool colors like that. I wish the lettering was filled in a little better in the front and in the back.
So let me say this.
Yeah,
The lettering in the back is trash. I agree with you. But let me
yeah.
say this. The Tampa Bay text on the front that's actually, believe it or not, the throwback text. Because that's
Yes.
what that was their old gray uniforms back when they were the Devil Rays pre-08.
Right.
So I actually really like these uniforms because you and I have talked about this,
Yeah.
where this cool thing about the City Connect is this is the two things that they did that we liked. They kept the overall primary color scheme of the team, which is like a
Right.
blue and a teal and a green, whatever. And they
Right.
kept the overall sort of respect to the old uniforms. So I
Yeah.
actually really like these
It
because
fits in
they're,
there, right?
yeah,
It's not something so far out like the
if you can, yeah.
Angels or the Rockies, I should say, not the Angels. The Rockies uniforms are like the state license plate.
Those are cool. I actually was at a game where the
Yeah.
Yankees lost to them in walk-off fashion
Yeah.
last summer while they were wearing
Yeah.
those. I actually like the green Colorado ones, but
Yeah.
no, these are cool. These are
These
very
fit
cool.
there. These could be their third jersey very easily, even if they
Very
switch to
easily, and
white pants.
I think they
Yeah.
will actually. In fact, I hope they will. And we couldn't really find an example of this, but you see on the side with the belt there, I noticed they had like lime green cleats and lime green
Yeah.
belts and the lettering. I
Yeah,
kind of like it. I kind of think it's so over the top and ridiculous, but it fits that team because this is not
Yeah.
an old school team. This is a team that came in the league in like '97. They don't have like a long tradition, so
No,
I think
these
it's
are
cool that they do this cool, fun, flashy stuff.
yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. And then I kind of compared it to the original Super Soaker on Twitter. So I just want to bring that up. I'm like, what does this remind me of? Like, oh yeah, the Super Soaker.
Oh my
And
god!
I had to go look it up because there's so many variations now. But I'm like, no.
By the way, that's not the original Super Soaker.
This is from
the original Super
93,
Soaker
I think.
50 was just the one with the one green tank. I had that one. Anyway,
Right. Yeah.
that's a different conversation. Again, a much different conversation. But yeah. Oh yeah, you do have the green right here. You can see it on this one.
Yeah.
Where it's the green on the cleats. Again, I think they're cool. I think it's fun. I think it's different, and it keeps the quote unquote tradition of the team. I like it a lot.
So whoever was pitching yesterday, I forget who it was for Tampa Bay. He had on like they have now the original Air Jordans, but as cleats, and they were the light sky blue and black. So they're able to incorporate purple, neon, greenish yellow, light blue. Like they have like 4 colors and the black, and their jerseys have like a powdery, smoky. Like is that like? I don't even know how they make a jersey like that.
The charcoal look. I don't know what the origin of that is, but I think is it supposed to be like rocks underwater? Is that supposed to be because like rays, right? Rays swim through water, and that's like rock underwater. That's like what you look at a rock with the light shining. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, the helmet is a ray, but it's the bridge. It's a bridge. If you look close enough, that's whatever the bridge is down there makes the head of the ray.
So I've been to Tampa, and the reason why I'll explain that. There's a huge bridge that connects the mainland of Tampa with St. Petersburg, where the stadium is. And the reason why no one goes to Rays games is because, well, the stadium is trash. It's the worst stadium in the league. And I can confidently say that as someone who's been to more than half the stadiums at this point. It is trash. Yes, I've been to Oakland. It's worse than Oakland. But the thing is, so there's this huge long bridge in Tampa. If you fly into Tampa and you go to St. Pete, which I've been to St. Pete like 8 or 10 times, and it's a long bridge. It's like longer than any of the tunnels in New York. It takes like several minutes to cross. Yeah. And the reason why no one goes to Rays games is because you have to cross this bridge during rush hour. Because remember, the games are at 7 o'clock.
There's no train or nothing. Yeah,
exactly. The main population center of Tampa is nowhere near the stadium, and so if you want to go to the game, you have to sit in traffic on this little 2-lane bridge. I think it's like 2 lanes in each direction, or maybe 3, during rush hour to get to the game. That's why nobody goes, and that's why I think it's hilarious that they think they're going to be building a stadium in the same exact site, and people are going to come. It's like, dude, the stadium's bad, but that's only part of the equation. The main part of the equation is that bridge right there that's referenced in the helmet. So that's the origin of that.
It's bigger than the Verrazano, this bridge? Is it? Or is it like,
here's the thing. It's hard to
describe.
Let me see if I can find a. Well, I don't feel like looking for a picture of it, but the fact is, it's one of those bridges that's lower down. It's lower down to the water than any bridge in New York that you'll see.
Right.
And it's just long as hell. It's really. In fact, let me. Fuck it.
No, I haven't been on that bridge. Look it up. Yeah.
I'll look it up while we're sitting here.
Well, I was going to say, I guess they're going to be staying there because there was rumors a couple years back that they were going to move to Montreal and split half the season to Montreal and half the season to Tampa.
Well, they should just move to Montreal full time in all seriousness. And I've said this for quite a while. I think it's called I'm looking at this Google Maps. I believe it is called. There was two bridges. There is the Howard Frankland Bridge, Frankland Bridge. And the W. Gandy Boulevard, I guess, bridge. And they're both super duper long. I don't have a, let's see. Let me just, this is so embarrassing that we didn't, I didn't know we were going to be talking about this today. I had no idea we were going to be talking about the Howard Franklin Bridge.
Let's see on roll. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I was going to say, if they move to Montreal, I was going to say they should change their name to the X-Rays. Because the Expos, the former Rays, so the X-Rays and X-Rays. So that was my brilliant little.
So this bridge, the Howard Franklin Bridge, I just looked this up, is 3 miles long, which is way longer than anything you're used to here in New York.
The Howard Franklin.
Yeah.
Howard Franklin Bridge.
Howard Franklin Bridge.
Oh yeah, I see it on.
So you see how it's lower to the ground. So it's much more typical of that part of the country than this part of the country. So I don't even know if you could build a bridge like we have in New York there, because it's like everything is right at sea level and it's all like sand. I don't think there's enough bedrock to build that. I'm not an engineer. I don't know. But what you were saying was
this is the bridge
about the Montreal thing. And imagine driving across that when it's like windy or raining, which it is almost every day for at least an hour or two in Florida. It's not a good time. People aren't going to cross that to go to games.
I would rather take a boat.
They should definitely move the Rays to Montreal. I should do a whole episode on this because I do.
You're the map guy.
Yeah. Here's the thing with moving Tampa to Montreal. First of all, Montreal is a pretty big city. People don't realize that. I don't know offhand what the population is, but it's one of the bigger population centers that doesn't have a team in North America. Also, think about the away games. You would then, if you move Tampa specifically there, you would have Baltimore, New York, Toronto, and Boston all right. None of those places are far from Montreal. They're all like an hour flight from Montreal.
That's
so you
true.
They would sell out like every single divisional game before they even spent a dime on marketing. Because think about it. Right there, see, you're intrigued, I can tell. Imagine if you could fly up to Montreal and go see an away game, and it's like
I just want to go to Canada.
Whatever it is.
That would be fun.
And also too, you'd have a built-in rivalry with the Blue Jays, like a Canada series or whatever the hell they would call it. Like like the apology series, because Canadians always apologize. It would be a great marketing decision for the league to do that. It would sell a ton of tickets, more than because when they were the Expos, they were in the same division as like the Marlins, and you'd have 4 fan bases that could all travel there in less than a day. That would want to go see away games there. It would be a much better thing for the league. Tampa sucks. I've been there. The stadium's trash. It's in an inaccessible part of town. Anyway. I was at Yankees. I was at a Yankees versus Rays game a few years ago. I swear to you, it was 90% Yankee fans. It was unbelievable. Yeah. It was straight up just a home game for the Yankees. It was incredible. I loved it. So they should definitely move. They should move the Rays to Montreal. I should do a whole episode about like geographically breaking down like why it's a good idea, even though nobody gives a shit about my opinion. All right, so we got some other fun stuff we're gonna do here too, right?
Yeah, so we got a couple commercials. Should we do my commercial first or your commercials?
I'm playing both, man. Play whatever one you want, dude.
All right, so this is yours. This is the Knicks commercial.
Yes, this is a mid-90s commercial. You're going to love the product, too, that we have for this one.
From the Wiz.
I'm very excited about this one. Yeah.
All right, let's check this out.
Yeah, I need a big play. Throw the bomb, man. Play action pass. Let's go to screen. Fake inside, sweep outside. Just stuff it down their throat. All right, man, I got
Cellular One, and nobody beats the Wiz. Cellular service.
Hey, Boomer.
That's simply the best.
Hey, Boomer.
I love everything about this commercial because you're incorporating multiple sports into this, and you got these guys who clearly are not acting trained. I feel like they only took like 1 or 2 takes, and look at these phones. Those are the ones that you had to pull the antenna out.
I had that. That was my first phone. Yeah, I had one of them. I had my dad's old cell phone, and it flipped
then
open.
they got away with saying "stuff it down their throat" on a commercial for electronics, and no one got offended. Man, did I love the 90s.
But look at this on the Knicks. Stark smiles. Derek Harper smiles. Charles Smith smiles. Ewing smiles.
Ewing leans in and says "stuff down their throat" with a flat top, and that is everything that I want in a commercial for anything ever. This is
Charles
so
Oakley's
awesome.
not smiling, which I love. He's the only one in the whole commercial who wouldn't. He's hiding in the back. He's not smiling.
It's because he's on the phone. He's actually the only one on an actual phone call. He was on the phone with Dolan, getting ready to smack him up on that phone call.
Yeah,
okay, that's it started in '95, guys. Yeah,
the Wiz was great. I used to buy the best CDs at the Wiz, Big Pun and
CDs,
Fun Village, and they would lay.
And also, maybe I'm just too young to know who's the Jets guy. Was that the QB of the Jets?
That's Boomer.
Like the early.
That's Boomer Esiason.
Are you effing kidding me? Oh my god. Okay, you know what it is? I didn't watch a lot of football when I was 9 or 10 or whenever he was there. I did not recognize him. I only know him as the guy on The Fan, to be perfectly honest with you.
He can't even. But look, no, but this is where what's his name? Joe Namath says Boomer.
Nobody beats the Wiz. Cellular service.
Hey, Boomer.
That's simply the best.
They say, "Hey, Boomer." He says, "Hey, Boomer."
I didn't know. There's a lot of guys with the nickname Boomer. I did not realize it was. Oh my god! I was probably 8 or 9 when this commercial aired and wasn't really aware. That's crazy.
Yeah, they got him from the Bengals, and it was a big deal because he's a Long Island guy. He was a local guy, so that's why he does radio here in New York. Because not just because of the Jets, because he's from Long Island.
And I liked that. I knew who Namath is because of his off the field stuff. And I do like that they had him out of uniform playing golf. That's a little touch.
Not trying to kiss Susie Colbert on TV. Yeah.
So we got Boomer. I didn't even recognize him. I only know Boomer.
No, to be fair,
that I watch YouTube clips of in the morning.
To be fair, for a minute there, I thought it was their draft pick Browning Nagel, who was like supposed to be the next great quarterback that they drafted, and he was a dud. And I'm like, wait, but I saw the 7. I'm like, yeah, it is Boomer, because you see Boomer now, and he's all clean cut here.
He's clean cut, and he's got short, kind of gray hair. Yeah, I swear, dude, I did not. That is so crazy.
480.
So, if for some reason Boomer ever sees this, I don't mean any disrespect. That is, I love that commercial, man. It's got everything. It's got everything you want.
That's a great commercial. That's so New York. All right, so this is one I found that we looked at on our Instagram, and I ripped it for today. This is cool because it's Yogi Berra in a Miller Lite commercial, but it features a young, then unknown Jason Alexander in the background. Jason Alexander used to be a big commercial guy before he became famous. He was Broadway and commercials. He'll talk about it.
Let's do it.
I've been doing a lot of thinking lately about Miller Lite. What a profound concept. It's got a third less calories than I probably thought it didn't even have. And it's less filling than it would have been if it was more filling than they didn't want it to be. Plus, it tastes as great as you expected, even if it had more calories than it didn't have in the first place. Think about that.
In other words, there's only one light beer, because if there wasn't, he wouldn't be saying there is. Right, yo?
I don't know what the hell Yogi Berra said in that commercial. I played it twice.
He's known for that, right? Because didn't he have the Aflac commercial? Oh, we got to get the Aflac commercial where he's like, what does he say? He says, when you get hurt and miss work, it doesn't hurt to miss work. Or whatever. We got to get that. We got to get that one on here
cash,
at some point.
Which is as good as
roll it again. Roll it again.
Yeah.
Roll it again.
Let's listen to what he says. Let's see what he says.
I've been doing a lot of thinking lately about Miller Lite. What a profound concept. It's got a third less calories than I probably thought it didn't even have. And it's less filling than it would have been if it was more filling than they didn't want it to be. Plus, it tastes as great as you expected, even if it had more calories than it didn't have in the first place. Think about that.
In other words, there's only one light.
Okay, so I kind of got this one line I still don't get, but he's pretty much saying, I thought it had a lot of calories, but it doesn't, and it still tastes good, even if it did have all the calories or had all those calories. But it doesn't have them. But it tastes what? And then Jason Alexander, he's kind of balding there. He's featured in the
gotta
commercial.
be honest with you, man. I think that Yogi just did this. He ad-libbed this, and everyone there wasn't acting. They genuinely were like, "What the fuck is this guy saying?" Like, what? Because they all have that like look on their face.
Yeah. That's just Yogi. I remember Billy Crystal told a great story that he went out to dinner with Yogi Berra, and Billy Crystal said, I'll have scotch and the rocks. And Yogi Berra said, I'll have the same thing too, but with no ice. And so just the Yogi, like, what did you say? My favorite Yogiism is nobody goes to that restaurant. It's too crowded. It makes sense, but it doesn't, right? Like,
well, yeah, he's known.
I'm
for
not
that.
going there.
He's known for all that kind of speaking in those kind of like back and forth kind of phrases.
Nobody goes to that restaurant. It's too crowded.
I gotta say, these are probably two of my favorite vintage commercials that we've done so far. I had a good time with this, man. I did. This is cool.
Well, I tagged Jason Alexander's. He's got that podcast, Really No Really, and sometimes the people who run it are responsive, and he's always bringing up these old commercials that he did. So I hope he gets wind of this. I hope other people tag him too.
Well, yeah,
and he talks about it.
What we gotta do, we'll talk after about trying to scoop some big fish like that. But dude, this was cool, man. I don't have a whole lot more to say this week, other than I feel like we covered all the sports and all the bases. This is fun. This is a good time. All right, man.
It was Mother's Day. The Knicks played like a bunch of mothers. So we got tomorrow Rangers when this video will come out.
Hopefully their mothers all call them and say, you better play better next game, or I'm going to smack the shit out of you next time you're home, or something like that.
Well, at least Brunson's dad is the coach, and he yells at him. Did you ever see the video? There's a video of Brunson where he's like yelling, and his father looks at him, and Brunson goes, "Sorry." he turns into a 5-year-old kid again.
I love that so much.
So,
all right. Hopefully we don't have to cry like 5-year-olds because they win this week. All right, man. I'll talk to you soon, brother. Peace.
See ya.